Hi everyone, it's Andrew with River North Gym. I want to take a moment to go over my top 10 movements. These are the 10 movements that I would do if I could only do 10 movements for the rest of my life during my own training. In addition, most of these are staples in my clients' programming. There are one or two exceptions, such as the clean, which is because most people don't need to learn how to do a clean in order to achieve their goals. But the majority of the movements are used in the majority of my clients' programs. In order to make it onto this list, movement basically has to fulfill two criteria. It has to be a large movement that works a variety of musculature, and it has to be a movement that you can load heavily so that you allow for the most long-term progression. These are not in any particular order, so I'm just going to go down the list and briefly explain why each one belongs on the list. But before I do that, I'm going to go over all 10 just to give you a quick preview. So the first one would be a front squat, number 2, deadlift, number 3, clean, number 4, a kettlebell swing, number 5, overhead press, number 6, pull-up, number 7, bench press, number 8, dip, number 9, a dumbbell row, and number 10, a loaded carry. So now I will go over the list piece by piece and just explain why each one belongs on the list. So with the front squat, you might be surprised that I didn't choose the back squat as opposed to the front squat, but there's a simple reason. Your front squat will make your back squat better, but your back squat will not necessarily make your front squat better. For example, it's highly unlikely to find someone with a 315-pound front squat who doesn't squat in the mid to upper 300s. However, you can commonly find someone with a 315-pound back squat who can't front squat over maybe 200 pounds just due to mobility issues and just not ever practicing the front squat enough. But having a strong front squat almost guarantees that you'll have a strong back squat. So that's why the front squat belongs on the list as opposed to the back squat. Number 2, the deadlift. Just because of how heavy you can load the movement, you can split hairs over conventional versus sumo. But really, as long as you're picking something very heavy up from the ground, that's the basis of the deadlift. And that's why it belongs on the list, because it allows for the heaviest loading and the most long-term progression in terms of just raw strength. Number 3, clean. This is the one movement that is not a staple in my clients' programming, like I mentioned before, but I still consider it to be very important, and I personally would do this movement, consider this one of my top 10 if I could only do 10 movements for the rest of my life. The reason for that being is it allows you to move a large amount of weight in a short amount of time. It's very explosive, and it mimics or develops a lot of athletic qualities that you'd want to develop and retain in your training. So in that respect, it's kind of a killing multiple birds with one stone. The fourth movement, the kettlebell swing, is similar to the clean in that it's explosive, which is also why I want it on the list, but also because of the nature of it, how you go for such high reps. It's also a great conditioning tool, and it can help grease the hinge groove without putting too much strain on the nervous system. So it's kind of a lighter weight, higher rep, and explosive hinge movement to kind of counterbalance the heavy loading of the clean and the deadlift. Number 5, the overhead press. We press and pull in 2 planes of motion, vertical and horizontal. So if you remember back to the list, I had press, bench press, pull up, and dumbbell row. There's your your vertical press, your horizontal press, your vertical pull, and your horizontal pull. So the press is just the vertical press that allows you to do the greatest loading right on the barbell. So that's why it belongs on the list. Number 6, the pull up, just balancing out the overhead press. You can do it for a high amount of reps if you're proficient in them, or you can load it up as for heavy weight and low reps as well if you're very strong at them. And if you're not so great at pull-ups, then you can just do a couple reps here and there, and you're still going to get good strength adaptation out of it to the point where you can do multiple repetitions. It's such a staple and necessary movement to be able to move yourself against an external resistance that it definitely belongs in the top 10. Next would be the bench press. The bench press gets a lot of criticism over not being functional or being bad for your shoulders, but the bottom line is that it allows for the greatest loading on your upper body more than any other movement out there, including the overhead press. And so for that reason, it's the best tool to develop upper body strength. And then we have the dip, which is a good upper body weight movement, which again you can do for many reps if you have the endurance for it, or you can also load it heavy and just add weight and then do fewer reps and use it as a strength building movement as well. So again, just like the pull-up, it's another versatile movement, and it's good to be able to move your body as the external resistance or against an external resistance, if that makes sense. Then we have the dumbbell row, which is the horizontal pull that I had mentioned earlier, and this is basically just to balance out the horizontal press, the bench press. And you can do a couple different variations, but the standard dumbbell row would just be neutral grip with the dumbbell here, leaning over the bench, pulling with one side. But you could also do like a chest supported row, for example, or you can get pretty creative with the dumbbell. And in this respect, I would choose the dumbbell over the barbell because it allows you to load the back in a few different ways, which would help round out your overall rowing, your ability to row. Last movement would just be a loaded carry. I pictured a farmer carry in my head, but really anything where you're carrying something heavy, whether it's like a waiter or red carry, fireman carry, carrying it up here in the front rack, zerker carry, an over-the-shoulder carry, even pushing the sled, which isn't technically a carry, but you're still moving a heavy external resistance in addition to your body for a given distance or for a given amount of time. All of those basically fulfill just that requirement of moving a load for distance or time. In my opinion, the farmer carry would be the best bet because it just develops your overall grip strength, strengthens all your postural muscles, everything from your glutes and your lower back to your upper back and your shoulder girdle, just keeping everything stable. So it's very well rounded, and in addition, it will smoke you on conditioning. If you don't rest a lot or if you go for long distances, then you'll get your heart rate up, and it's a great conditioning tool as well, which is why the farmer carry rounds out this list. So again, the top 10 would be front squat, deadlift, clean, kettlebell swing, press, pull-up, bench press, dip, dumbbell row, and farmer carry. If you disagree, feel free to say why. If you think I missed a movement, or if you think one of my movements on here is misplaced, go ahead and let me know. If you have any questions about this list, feel free to ask, and thank you for watching.